A sailor is a singer, it helps him fight the tide. But I can sing a shanty by the blazing fireside. I'll sing the songs, but no, oh no, oh no. I am a duck pond sailor, and to sea I will not go, my boys. To sea I will not go. A sailor is a drinker, as good as any here. But I can be a drinker without bird shit in my beer. I'll drink the ale, I'll sing the songs, but no, oh no, oh no. I am a duck pond sailor, and to sea I will not go, my boys. To sea I will not go. A sailor is a lover, with a cock that cannot wait. But I lie with my lover while he's slapping with a skate. I'll take the girls, I'll drink the ale, I'll sing the songs, but no, oh no, oh no. I am a duck pond sailor, and to sea I will not go, my boys. To sea I will not go. A sailor lives his life, boys, with a salty seaward breeze. But I'd rather die right here than at the bottom of the sea. I'll live the life, I'll take the girls, I'll drink the ale, I'll sing the songs, but no, oh no, oh no. I am a duck pond sailor, and to sea I will not go, my boys. To sea I will not go.
Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to, I would have streamed today anyway, but we are now back on regular scheduling, which means that I'll be here on the Sunday. Yay! 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 Have I got, where did my thing go? Actually, do I even have that particular one? Yes, I do. Yay! Yay! Woohoo! So yeah, there's that. I don't have anything to say. How are you doing? You say things. You do my intro. That is literally how I titled it, and I believe it is an MP3 actually. You're Minecraft? You are the video game Minecraft? That's so crazy. Dude, you're famous. No, literally, because my brain already does that. Like, the slightest little things can remind me of really specific, like, voice clips and whatever, and, like, quotes that I remember from stuff. And so, literally, just being, like, a Psionic-style living soundboard would be so fucking awesome for me. And honestly, if not just that it would make me funnier because people would actually realize that I'm doing quotes or jokes or whatever's, it could also be, like, fucking helpful. Helpful and useful. They say that when you're a writer, all of your characters are reflections of you. Apparently in this one, all the characters are actually reflections of me. Which means that I was factually correct and genius and right to do a project wherein everyone sounds like me. Because they are me, and I'm right. And I'm not taking notes at this time. Because I'm right. I don't know. I don't think I had anything in particular to say. I'm just... Okay. New theory. I'm just the sequel to you. New theory is I'm just the sequel to you. They were like, hey, that one's pretty cool. What if we made them younger and American for some fucking reason? And then I happened, I guess. With how chapter coded we are, of course there would be two of us. Anyway. I've still got remnants of a lime Fanta from Wendy's. I should drink something that's not carbonated. But in my defense, this is 4 hours old, and so it's not very fizzy anymore. Also, if I don't drink it, I can't get rid of it. Well, I can, but that would feel wasteful, and I want to drink it. So anyway, what's up? We're back. We're back for another week of stream. I should call them weekends of stream, but whatever. Point being, we have a good fun time here now. We have a good fun time here now. The operative word being now. Let's do it now. What do you say we do it now? Should we do it now? Let's do it now. I think I'm making an executive. We do it now. What do we do now, though? Well, I'll tell you. This is the 48th installment. The 48th. Man, that's so many. The 48th installment of Your Words Destroyed My Planet, the stream series. If you're new here, you're not new here. I can literally look in the list right now. There's no one new here. Hi, no one new here. But if you were new here, I would tell you that my name is Harper, but you could call me KK, and my pronouns are they, it. And that you can read the rules, be chill, and have a good time. Because that's all we're really here for, is to have a good time. And read the chat rules. If you're new here, no, you're not. I've rewritten your life history. You've always been here. The game has been changed. You've been here the whole time. Anyway. The point is that Your Words Destroyed My Planet by Unda is a 1 million word homestuck fic that focuses on Dave Soulcat, and it's an AU set in a future where Earth and Alternia have been consumed by a mysterious force known as the Void, and humans and trolls have escaped on spaceships for their survival. Ignore the part where I forgot how to say words for like half a second in the middle of that sentence. It's fine. It's like fine. Don't even worry about it. As of now, the fic is currently unfinished. If you care, but take it from me, you don't need to care. You don't need to care. Just jump right in anyway. It's fine. You should, and you must, and you will. In this stream series, I am to read the... What has happened to my accent? In this stream series. What the fuck is going on with me today? I aim to read the entire fic out loud by myself. Because I like to think that I'm good at saying words, and then I consistently prove myself wrong. But it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. Please take note of the tags on this fic. Be aware that you may be in for the discussion of some sensitive topics. Today's fun. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, what I got possessed by LSP for a moment, I think, is what happened there. Where am I in my paragraph? I've forgotten how to read. If you would like to read back approximately the things that I have already told you, the cleaner, more concise version that I read off of every time I do that, then you can type !fic about in chat. That's a good thing to do if someone new shows up and they don't know what the fuck's going on, because that way I don't have to, completely derail myself explaining myself. And I will feel the urge to explain myself, which is a problem when flow is a little bit important. But if you would like a link to the fic itself on AO3 to follow along on your own screen, to save it for later, to send it to a friend, to send it to an enemy, to send it to a stranger, to download it, you can download it. You could use !fic link. That'll give you the link to chapter 1, but don't worry, the other chapters are very close behind. !fic song is a brief explanation of a very special feature of these streams, which is the pre-recorded song sequences. The command will not tell you which song is currently happening, but if it does not become readily apparent what the title of it is, which is uncommon, it is uncommon for there to be a song and the title to not be obvious. But should such a circumstance occur, the titles do reside within my brain. I had to download them and record narration over them. But also, the author is literally in chat right now, and they had to pick the songs and, use them for the thing. So, we can tell you what the song is. If the song doesn't tell you what the song is, we can tell you what the song is. Why do I always explain that in such detail? I have to prepare for every outcome, including and especially instances that will never occur. No one has asked this. No one has ever asked this. And I always just build this fantasy universe in my brain where someone just urgently needs to know the title of the song and can't find the title of the song, and we have to intervene. Quick, what's the song? Silence. It's not. In my brain, it's Cadmium Colors by Jamie Page, but that's... But that's specifically a me thing. Anyway. That was completely tangential. !fic sorry is just a couple of disclaimers / apologies, just to sort of acknowledge the degree of polish that this project lacks. I'm aware of what I could have done to, clean it up a little bit more. But I'm also aware of how long that would take me. And I don't have the patience for that. I want the project to be done now, not in a million years. And so, for your viewing pleasure as well as mine, I have decided to cut those corners so that we can have the project now instead of in 1 million years. So that's what Fixari is about. And finally, you can use exclamation point VODs, VODS VODs, to get a link to my YouTube archive where I'll be putting every VOD for this series as well as anything that I might stream at other times. Those haven't happened yet, but they won't never. Like... Yeah, that's completely fair. Like, I'm hashtag fix sorry, that I'm exclamation point fix sorry that in cases it'll be a little bit sloppy and maybe a little bit hard to understand or keep up with. And I'm definitely exclamation point fix sorry if I say something in a language that's not English and I do it bad. But I'm not exclamation point fix sorry for the choices that I've had to make, because those choices are what bring you this project today. As opposed to in the year 2107. Reference! You know what else is Sorry, I'm going to do another tangent real quick. Because you know what's interesting about the year 2107 is that it's pretty close to the year 2110, which is it's the year mentioned verbal. I have an audio voice clip in my brain of it. In the Disney Pixar film WALL-E, the quote-unquote 5-year cruise evidently lasted from what was meant to last from the year 2105 to 2110. Because 2110 is the year in which they received the message telling them not to return to Earth. So, yeah, WALL-E takes place in 2805. Yeah. Fun fact. That movie was it's not even a close competition in the slightest how that movie was the defining movie of my childhood. I've watched that thing so many fucking times, that I'm fairly certain if you could, like, scan my entire memory, like, my entire lifetime memory into video format, you could piece the entire film together, probably. Anyway. Enough about how autistic I am. Let's get to how autistic I am. Because it is now time. It is now time for that thing I do that is the most autistic thing I've ever done with my life. It's time to read some fanfic live on stream. In other words, ladies and gentle whatevers, that's all inclusive. That's all inclusive. Everyone is a gentle whatever. Unless you're not gentle, but people call non-gentle men gentlemen, so. Ladies and gentle whatevers, I present to you Your Words Destroyed My Planet, Chapter 48. Boy, I hope I'm not forgetting to press any buttons. Well, we're gonna find out, I guess. Despite the fact that you're the newest balancer, you're somehow the one who ends up attending meetings on behalf of the balancers the most. Aradia shows up the second most after you, which is something of a mixed blessing, given that she sits there with a smile that radiates malice. Gamzee will show up sometimes, but that's much the same issue as Aradia. Solix told you that the last thing he wanted to do with his free time was listen to Cankry debate with people even more boring than him, and given that Dave wants precisely 0 attention on him, you're not even going to ask him to come. So, yeah, it's just you. You take notes and link them in the balancer chat, but you have a distinct feeling that absolutely no one is reading them. You link the most recent notes and then open a Trollian message to Dave. Dave, I'm just leaving the meeting now. Can you check something for me? Is it how many fucks I give about the people in that meeting who aren't you? I checked. It's none. So helpful. No, I wanted you to check the shared list for our hive for stuff from the store. I know that you and Solix had things on there, and I can swing by on the way back home. The list that you're also on, you mean? What am I, your secretary? That's definitely what I was saying. No further thought needed from the cerebral mind king over here. Unless you're into that. Is this a thing you're into, Carcat? I'm not sure I have the wardrobe for that, but apparently everyone just has fantasies of me in weird outfits, first at Solix in that glittery Playboy bunny suit, and now you with your secretary thing. Please stop talking, for the love of God! Oh, yeah, you're in public, huh? Probably shouldn't be saying things like that to you, or wondering over text if I'm gonna have to start asking Kanaya to, make me pencil skirts and bedazzled bodysuits. You try, in vain, to keep that mental image out of your head, but your imagination is clearly stronger than your willpower. You're not even into that kind of thing, but the vision of Dave being amused by the whole situation makes the mental picture of Dave in what is basically cliché office attire far more appealing than it should be. Obviously, Dave has nice legs. He has nice everything. This isn't a surprise. And sure, as Kanaya has so often told you, clothes can absolutely accentuate what's already there. This shouldn't be that stuck in your head. And yet... Wait, I'm gonna ask the audience about my legs. The audience just gave me a look that is somehow wildly scandalous to receive, and a grin that is frankly not PG-13. It's Solix, he's the audience. I assumed. Fuck me, stop talking about your legs. I see how it is. That's not what I meant. All I did was message you to ask you about the shared shopping list. I can't access it on my palm husk for some reason. All I was asking was for you to re-invite me to it, not assault my think sponge with mental images. Hey, you're the one who brought the whole thing up. Clearly projecting, Mr. Vantas. Why is this happening to me? It's fine. I'll leave my art project on my tablet and go to my actual computer for once and send it over to you. Thank you! Was that so difficult? I nearly wrote hard, but I'm not falling into that trap, and you can't use it in this message because I pointed it out first, so there! Whatever you say, boss. Oh, you are going to... Wait, what? Real quick, what did you want? I just wanted permission to the shopping list. My palm husk doesn't have it for some reason, but it's okay. Dave's getting it for me. Nah, he's about to be really distracted. Why? I may have fucked with his keyboard and been waiting for him to find out about it. Emailed it to you. Oh shit, gotta go. You raise an eyebrow at your palm husk and figure that maybe you'll go do something else for a while before you go home. It's not that you're uninterested or think that you're unwelcome at home. Solix wasn't telling you to get lost. It's more that... Well, something is clearly going on right now, and you want to let them have that. You've been able to be pale with Solix when it's just the two of you. Sure, that bleeds into the time the three of you spend together, but it's probably important to establish what you're like in your own pairs instead of anything more than that. Not that you and Dave have done all that much of anything. Or, not anything alone, anyway. You don't know why you're surprised that he's an affectionate person. He's always been pretty casual with his personal space when he's around people he likes. Hell, when he was with Jade, they'd often be holding hands or cuddled up together when they were hanging out. Maybe part of you thought that he'd never be interested in that with you, but you clearly don't know shit. Dave's been totally happy to watch a movie with you with your arm around him. He flirts with you, which is weirdly not all that different from how he normally talks. There's just actual sincerity in there now, as well as him making dumb jokes. Or maybe it was always a little bit sincere. You highly doubt that Dave is actually suggesting some kind of dress-up thing here. He's clearly making a joke. Even so, there's a blatant layer of him deliberately making you think of him like that. It's flirtatious, even if he is joking. But he'd have said something like that before, too, even if he followed it with a bunch of awkward attempts to get out of the weird, sexually charged tangent he'd started, only to trip into another stupid comment of some kind. So, the question remains. Is that just Dave being Dave, or has he always been flirting with you, even if he hadn't wanted to admit it before? That's food for thought. Still, aside from losing time kissing him a few times, it's all been relatively innocent. As you wander towards the shopping center that you have in mind, the one that contains Solix's arcade, you can't help but feel that you kind of want Dave and Solix to progress before you and Dave do. Their first date ended in disaster, and you'd feel a little guilty if you took Dave out on an actual date before Solix could get attempt number 2 down. And if they're getting more physical first, then that's fine. At least, between you and Dave, there'd be one of you with some experience after that. You and Gamzee were strictly pale, and you're not sure you'd even know what to do with Dave if you got your hands on him. You'd sure as hell love the chance to figure it out, though. You're overthinking this, aren't you? Yeah, you feel like you are. You try to put everything out of your head and focus on picking things up from the list that you now have access to. Fuck, what if you're being too hands-off about this? You've not gone on a proper pale date with Solix, even if you've been very pale with him. What if you're giving Solix the impression that this is no big deal to you? Or Dave. Shit, that'd be awful. Your palm husk pings and you fumble for it, somehow convinced that it's Dave and Solix deciding to break up with you. Oh, shit, it's the balancer chat. What if you're all gonna die? Not that you're catastrophizing or anything, no. I need you to check. Help? Sorry. I need to enunciate. I need a check. I can help if you want. If you're at the bar, I could even come over in person since I'm already out of the hive. You sure? I am at the bar, actually. Yeah, I'm sure. It's not that I don't appreciate all of the guidance the rest of you have been giving us, but at some point I've got to actually just do the job. It's shitty to leave it all to Aradia unless she could get people nearby to watch me in case I fuck it up. That's not really how I'd put that, but sure, if you want to help, I can go back to sleep. I'm sure. I'm not going to argue with that. I'll see you down at the bar then. You nod and hurry off to pay for your stuff so you can go to the bar as soon as possible. You'll be glad to start being of some real help around here. Even so, it's funny that you're hurrying off to see Gamzee when you're feeling the way you are right now. You can't help but feel a pang in your chest for Gamzee. He was always good to talk at when you felt like you were overthinking things. His entire lack of stress about the chaos in your head was calming in its own way, like you ended up matching his energy in the end. It'll probably be weird to see him when you feel that way, but he's not yours anymore. You're happier with Solix, you know you are, but it doesn't change a decade of association with someone. When you get to the bar, you find Gamzee sat on the edge of the stage with a drink in one hand. You're pretty sure it's one of those noxious sodas that he's always been so fond of. He catches your eye as you walk in and nods at you, though there's no smile there. You approach him a little uneasily. The closer you get, the more you see a small frown on his face. "Hey," you greet him, a little uneasily, but still polite.
"Hey, I need to talk to you after, but this was the thing I was thinking we could do. The song?"
Gamzee says, and holds his palm husk out to you. You take it, but an uneasiness fills your whole body. "You need to talk to me?" you repeat warily. Gamzee looks up at you over his glass and clocks your worried expression. He wheeze laughs and nearly drowns himself in his drink doing so. When he pulls his glass back, the purple-tinted soda runs over his grease-painted chin as he coughs and laughs.
"Oh, damn, your face. Nah, it's nothing like... There's no problem with anything you've done, and I'm not pissed about anything. Not even pissy about your boys, okay?"
He reassures you. "Okay, fine. You're ominous and I'm anxious. We knew this. What do you want to talk to me about? I get that you want to get to balancing first, but can I at least get a category of what this is?" You sigh and glance at the palm husk screen to see the lyrics.
"I need to pick your think sponge about an idea. I guess I was thinking about bringing my idea to you, Aradia, and Solix, but you were always the smarter one of us, so just asking you if I'm right is probably better," he explains. You want to ask why Dave has been left off of what is obviously a list of balancers, but you figure that he'll get to that when you're done with this. You focus on the palm husk properly instead of looking at it and not seeing it. I do that all the time. I can look at words and absorb nothing. For ages. You vaguely feel like you've heard this one. You take your palm husk out and lower the volume so you can play the track. It is familiar. It's one you've gone over in your list of songs to study. "I only want you to sing the chorus parts with everyone else. You're just keeping it level and keeping a feel out for things,"
Gamzee reminds you. "I can do that." You hesitate as he stands up on the stage. "Do I have to be on the stage?" You really don't want to be. Everyone will look at you.
"At least sit on it."
Gamzee chuckles. "Fine, you can agree to that." You hop your butt up on the stage in the place he was occupying before and cradle his palm husk in your hand so you can see the lyrics. Reaching out into the beyond, you pull Signless to you. You see him tense when the hulking form of GHB appears, but thankfully the two do nothing more than stare at each other. When Gamzee starts to sing, his voice is chill and languid. Even without the mic, it cuts through the bar and has everyone's attention.
"A sailor is a singer, it helps him fight the tide, but I can sing a shanty by the blazing fireside."
You start to sing the chorus, or rather the first iteration of the chorus, and find a good many people joining in with you.
"I am a duck pond sailor, and to sea I will not go, my boys. To sea I will not go."
It's a somewhat ironic song for sailors to sing, but it is what it is. You settle in past the music and listen as Gamzee sings more. You're able to add to your part of the chorus without much thought and instead devote your attention to what's really going on. Things feel a little off. You're distracted from the thought as Gamzee sings the next entirely inappropriate line about fish. Or, well, it's something you could have done without hearing him sing. It's not as if you're prudish about things.
"A sailor is a lover with a cock that cannot wait, but I lie with my lover while he's slapping with a skate."
Yeah, there is something off. Things feel slightly too light, but there's like a point of it in the distance that's like it, and the rest of the ship feels normal. You continue on with the chorus.
"To sea I will not go, my boys. To sea I will not go."
Gamzee reaches out and smooths darkness over the light patch, and with that, it all feels even again. You sing the final chorus, but nothing else changes or sticks out as wrong. Gamzee fixed it.
"I'll live the life, I'll take the girls, I'll drink the ale, I'll sing the songs, but no, oh no, oh no. I am a duck pond sailor, and to sea I will not go, my boys. To sea I will not go."
was weird, wasn't it? That bright spot? You ask, as Gamzee sits down right on the stage with you.
You could go get a table and some chairs like normal people, but apparently that's not gonna happen. It's been happening a bunch. It's not that weird. Sometimes something just throws something out of whack. Regular people's lives change the balance, even if it's only a little. Sometimes there's noise,
Gamzee says, waving his fingers like he's doing a magic trick. You don't think it's noise, you conclude. You can read him better than that.
Nah, it's not. I'm pretty sure, and it's what I wanted to talk to you about. Can you keep a secret from Dave?
He asks. I don't like the idea of doing that. Can you tell me why I have to? You ask. Gamzee looks around to check, but GHB wandered off the moment that Gamzee stopped singing. Signless is standing nearby, observing this whole conversation curiously.
Because if Dave knows something, then Bro could work out that he knows. It's not a big chance, but it's there,
Gamzee says. How about you explain it to me, and if what you're saying makes sense, then we take it to the others, Dave included. Unless what you say contains a really convincing reason not to, you suggest. Gamzee makes an expression that you know from years of experience means that he knows you've said a smart thing, but doesn't like it all that much.
We keep getting that light thing happening, that single patch on its own. Not every time, but a fair few, you know? And, like, maybe it's people looking forward to Skya, building this new ship for a whole species. We'd expect more light.
Gamzee begins. That makes sense. You nod.
Right. But, remember when Solix fell to the spot of light and it was Bro showing up and destroying the dark? Less dark makes more light. Kinda, anyway. And he's been real goddamn quiet since Signless rocked his shit. That's not like him. Solix talked to me about it. He said Psy's barely seen him, and Bro's not been hunting down Matuna to punish Signless or Psionic, which is the kind of petty shit I'd expect him to pull. I don't buy that he's rolled over and given up, Gamzee says.
I've barely seen him either, Signless agrees. Signless hasn't seen him either, really. But what are you saying that he's doing then? Making the ship lighter in parts? Why? You ask.
I don't know, but I think that the light is some kind of side effect for what's going on. Bro's doing something, he tells you.
What can he do? We're not that close to the void anymore, right? We're not in that unreality part where he might be able to influence things like Signless did when he was making contact with me at first. What could he even do? Do you think he's trying to attach himself to one of the other Striders or something? You ask.
I don't know. He shouldn't be able to do anything, really. He can screw with the other ghosts all he likes, I don't care, and he can't jump between people like that. But maybe it's something to do with Hal? Dave said he saw Bro hanging around there one time. Then again, he could have been trying to fuck with Solix and get away before his ghosts caught him,
Gamzee says in exasperation. I know what you mean. It feels like there's something there. You nod.
Right? Thank you.
Gamzee sighs in relief. Do you think it's connected to this door thing? Dave asked Bro about it, but Bro seemed genuinely surprised about the whole thing. His voice sounded surprised, at least, but maybe he's got a better poker face than I think. You say.
Dave definitely does. Wait, you should play poker with Dave when I'm watching.
Gamzee grins. You'd ask if he's intending on playing Dave, but you're getting the impression that Gamzee thinks that's a stupid thing to do. What if we all talk about this and we get Dave to jerk Bro back at random just to see if it changes anything? You suggest.
Makes Bro want to hurt him more, though, but you might have a point.
Gamzee concedes. You really don't want to put Dave in harm's way if you can help it, not after what you saw last time. But you're also not going to make his choices for him.
I'll troll him,
Gamzee says, and holds his hand out for his palm husk. I don't think you'll get hold of him right away, you snort and hand it back to him. Gamzee's eyebrows raise as he clearly gets the implication you'd made there. You're pretty sure that Dave is indisposed,
right now.
What about this door? What if this light patch is connected to that? You, me, and Dave have all seen it, but Solix hasn't, or Aradia. What are we doing with that? We know it's connected to Solix's dreams, you say, not liking the building amount of concerning fuckery that's growing around the people you care about.
We should try and see if we can get in there when it's happening. See what we can see.
Yamsey murmurs. I think me and Dave might have done that. We went through a different door, but still. It all seems to be linked to music, and we saw the lyrics of one of those the night that Solix ended up with another migraine. Whatever's happening, he's picking up on it. I can only think that it's because he's playing both sides of the void stuff, you know?
You say. Or he's causing it. Gamzee shrugs.
Solix wouldn't do that. Not to us, and not to himself.
You deny, instantly, and firmly, too. I'm not being all personal about this. He doesn't even need to mean to do it. I'm just saying.
Gamzee says, but you can't let the accusation go. Tell the whole balancer chat your theory about Bro. Let Dave make the call. I'm going to go home. You tell him, and then leave. Solix wouldn't do anything to put you all in danger. He just wouldn't. You know him better than that. All the same, you're left at something of a loose end after you leave the bar. You don't want to go back home just yet. Maybe you should find something else to do? You could go get coffee, perhaps. That sounds nice.
What's wrong? Signless asks. To your embarrassment, you'd almost forgotten he was there.
Actually, follow me,
you say, and find an out-of-the-way area of wall to lean against, far enough away from any doors that people might walk out and overhear you.
Signless gives you a curious look and follows.
You seemed upset at the insinuation that Solix would do anything wrong,
Signless points out. A little, but I'm mostly not a fan of the Solix and Gamzee feud. It's old and I don't like it,
you say dismissively.
Signless waits patiently for you to say whatever it is that you brought him over here to say. I know we had our whole issue about relationships. I actually wanted to ask for your advice for this part, though, if that's still okay.
You ask. Signless opens his mouth and then closes it again. You can see him coming up with something and then deciding that it's probably not a diplomatic or nice thing to say. What are you asking about specifically? Your ancestor asks instead.
From context clues, I'm pretty sure that Solix and Dave are...
You wave your hand vaguely, and Signless looks at you blandly.
Solix made this big romantic gesture. Then they both abruptly went offline, with Solix saying that he'd probably be away from Trollian for a while. So, it's not too much of a leap of logic to assume that they're...
fucking? Signless suggests cheerily, and you cringe. Hearing it from him is mortifying somehow.
Yes, probably. They might not go that far, but it feels like that's what that was building to. It'd be Dave's first time, and I've never been physical with someone like that, so I didn't want to blunder in there and ruin it for them. But I'm not... How do you navigate that? Dave seemed okay with the idea of the three of us being the three of us like that at some point, but not right away. That seems smart. Walk before you can run, right? How do you handle that whole thing, though?
You ask, Signless. You're happy that they're paling right now? He asks, not answering your question at all.
As long as they're happy, then yeah, they're both great, and I know they're both stupidly into each other. And on a less romantic and noble motivation, have you seen the two of them?
You groan in agony at how hot the pair of them are. It's really not fair. I can relate to that. Signless laughs, and his smile is sharp and suggests that what he imagines about Psionic and Disciple is just as indecent as your own imagination.
I don't know what I'd do now is all. I'm not threatened. They're supposed to be together. I'm not bothered that Solix is getting there first with Dave or vice versa. That's dumb.
You explain. Well, I think if they want to give you details, that's up to them, and you're fine to refuse hearing about them if that's uncomfortable for you. I don't really see what you're worrying about, though. If they're happy and you're happy, then what's the problem? Signless asks. You think I'm being anxious about nothing, you conclude. Not what I said. You're in a new situation. It's normal to be uncertain if you're doing it right. The truth is that if it works and you're all happy, then it doesn't matter. There's no wrong way to do this. Signless reassures you. I guess as long as I'm not kicking down the door demanding post-paling high fives from everyone and... You trail off as Signless covers his face with his hands. Sigh? I don't even have to ask. Of course Psionic did that. Goddamn captors. You groan. Just thought it was the best thing. They kept that dumb little ritual up for Periges, I swear. Signless says despairingly. I'm not even surprised. Still, you're probably right. I think I'm just going to go get coffee and give them some space before going home. It's not like they're going to be paling on the lounge plank, and if they are, I get to beat them with the cushions of it, because we had one rule and it was to not do that. You sigh. I think I'm going to find Psy and give him shit for the high five thing. Signless says with a smile. Thanks for listening. It helped. You tell him, instead of pointing out that reminding Psionic of the high five thing will only lead to him being insufferable about it. You know this because it'd make Solix insufferable about it if you were in the same situation. Signless waves at you and floats up to the levels above you. You head off to get that coffee that you'd planned on. When you've been handed your cup and sat down, your palm husk pings. Oh, fuck. I realized that I meant to give you that list thing, and I got distracted with something. Wow, Dave, that's wildly insensitive. I'm sorry, man. Solix has a name, you know. Okay, you got me. I thought you were mad at me for a moment there, but nah, you're just messing with me. It's okay. I get it. I respect the game. As you should. Anyway, Solix sent it to me before you got distracted. Oh, good. I'm so glad he didn't tell me that when I was like, oh shit, I have to message Carcat. Wait. I'm waiting? Are you mad at me? Why would I be? I was just teasing you about the list. It wasn't even important. I only asked because I was in the area. Besides, I can take a pretty low-stakes guess at what you two got distracted by, given that I have an idea about what Solix did. Yeah, but are you mad about that? It's not like this has happened before, and just because you said you were cool with something, it doesn't mean that you actually are. Is this a problem? What? No. I'm happy for you two. For whatever went down and however much detail you two choose to share with me. I was just... Actually, rereading my messages, I can see that they maybe do sound a little snippy. That wasn't what I meant, though. So, everything is good here, right? As long as you're happy, I'm happy. What about Solix? Oh, fuck that guy. Way ahead of you. See? You're so thoughtful, anticipating my instructions like that. Excellent boyfriend. And so long as you didn't defile my lounge plank, I feel safe saying excellent hive mate, too. Nah, don't worry. Your furniture is safe. Excellent hive mate. There's no elegant way to ask this, but can I come back without interrupting anything? Not that I'm against this whole thing, but it seemed like it was probably a special kind of moment, and you likely didn't want me blundering through the hive. It's not that I'm avoiding you or hate the whole idea or anything. If anything, I'm in favor. It's great. You're both great. Fuck, that sounds like I'm angling to be like, oh wow, let me watch next time, which, fuck, not what I was saying. Carcat, the ship is only so big. If you keep digging down, you're gonna run out of floors to dig through and breach the hull. And then we will all be sucked out into space, and that'll be a real downer. That's the official recognized term for that, I assume. You'd know as the very qualified sailor, I'm sure. Yeah, don't question my knowledge. But yes, man, of course you can come home. Okay, well, I'll do that. See you soon.
That conversation could have been way more mortifying than it turned out to be, so you're going to count that as a victory. You finish your coffee and try to regain some of your calm before you go back to your hive. Signless was right. As long as everyone's happy, then that's all that matters. When you walk through the door of your hive, the first person you see is Solix. He's perched on the back of the lounge plank. He brightens right away when he sees you, smiling at you widely. The expression is sincerely happy. There's no teasing undercurrent to it, no smugness, nothing but pure happiness. He's wearing pajama pants, the soft red fabric scrunched around his skinny hips where he's pulled the ties taut and lazily tied them together. His hair's something of a mess, but not so much that you'd guess why if you didn't already know. "Hey, you're back," Solix says. "I am," you agree.
Is that Carcat? Is Carcat back?
Dave's voice filters through his closed bedroom door. "No, I'm just letting random strangers in the hive so they can see you naked," Solix shouts back.
Sounds like you,
Dave shouts through the door. "Can you believe this slander? I've done nothing wrong ever," Solix says in faux offense, fixing you with an innocent look. "Oh, for sure. I always say that you've never done anything wrong. Usually I say it more like, he's never done anything wrong." You say that last part in the most sarcastic tone you can manage. "Ha!" Dave laughs and also dramatically exits his bedroom at the same time. Dave is also wearing pajama pants and is in the process of putting a shirt on, but you still get a really good look at the red claw lines that linger on his albino pale skin. There's a bruised red bite on his neck that's visible when he pulls his shirt on, and you can just catch the edge of one on his shoulder that peeks out through the neckline of his shirt.
Anyway, even if you were trying to expose me to random strangers, it's not like most of the sailors haven't been around me when I'm naked at one point or another. And besides, I was trying to not be naked, but I couldn't find...
Dave trails off as he looks at Solix. "Couldn't find those?" you guess, pointing at Solix's pajama pants. More accurately, at Dave's pajama pants.
"Yeah, I couldn't find those,"
Dave says flatly. "You're welcome to try to take them back," Solix offers cheerily. "That's a pretty rigged deal. Either he can't get them back and you win at something, or he does and now your Kismesis has ripped your clothes off," you reason.
"Yeah, why would I sign up for things I can't win at?"
Solix snickers.
"You're a menace.
Also, hi, Carcat," Dave says, looking over at you. "Hey," you say back. To your relief, you realize that you're feeling fine about this situation. Solix and Dave have very obviously just paled, even if you weren't basically sure of it already. The two of them aren't hiding it as they affectionately bicker with each other. You sit on the arm of the lounge plank and listen as they playfully joke about what is and isn't normal between humans and trolls. "I'm telling you, KK, I really thought it was just a figure of speech or unrealistic stuff on the internet," Solix begins.
"Oh, fuck off. I've heard you tell people to suck your bulge before."
Dave groans despairingly. "Yeah, and Carcat tells people that he's gonna shove his foot up their ass so hard they can taste the brand of his shoes. Doesn't mean it's a thing he does," Solix shoots back.
"Yeah, well, you know what else no one tells us?
The fact that it stains," Dave retorts and sticks out his tongue, which is, oh, wow, very gold-tinted. "Suits you," Solix snickers. "Big words for a guy talking himself out of a repeat," you point out. "Thank you."
I get it. Troll teeth can be nuts, but it's not like it's technically danger-free for humans either. A human jaw can bite hard enough to sever fingers, let alone someone's junk. We just don't do that,
Dave argues, and Solix visibly winces at the idea. "In fairness, I don't think it's as unusual for trolls as Solix is implying. At least, not in my experience." You shrug. "What experience?" Solix asks skeptically. "You wouldn't believe the shit I hear from people in HR. People get up to all kinds of shit at work that they shouldn't. Humans and trolls alike. I've lost the ability to be surprised. Besides, it's Dave. He wouldn't hurt you." You point out, waving your hand at him. You couldn't see you turning him down for much if he was really into something or mistrusting him. At least someone appreciates me. I bet Carcat wouldn't say this to me, Dave says dramatically. You can see it in his face and hear it in his voice that he's not just saying that. There are two things going on under the surface level of what he's saying. First, there's a quiet request for reassurance. He's looking for Solix to confirm that this is just a case of cross-species culture difference and not a sign that Solix wasn't actually into Dave getting his mouth on Solix's bulge. Is this an actual objection, or is Solix just talking about how it was new for him? Secondly, and this is subtle, there's the hint that Dave would be cool with doing the same with you. The statement that you wouldn't say this to him implies a situation where you'd be in a position to. It's a careful gambit. He's towing the line of an offer, all while being entirely able to play it off as a joke. Dave talks a lot, and he says some shit, but you'd have to be an idiot to think that his words didn't mean things. I'm all for being culturally sensitive and open to cross-species xenobiological exchange, you say innocently, despite the sharp smile on your face. That could be a joke, but it's also an agreement. Yes, you're interested in him. Obviously you are. Solix starts to backpedal on his words, realizing that he might have come too close to discouraging Dave. Sitting there and watching them talk, you begin to realize something. This conversation isn't coming across like Solix or Dave are kissing and telling. This isn't like when Solix would tell you things about him and Aradia. Neither of them is hiding what they've been doing, but they're also not acting like there'd be any reason for them to ever do that. Sat here on the lounge plank with them, it feels like you're part of this. Their kismicissitude is between them, but it's also yours in a very real way. It's part of your contained triangular deal. You're involved, and they're not trying to keep you out. You really are okay with this. You're dating two people who are dating each other, and you're happy that they're together. It's actually working in practice, not just in theory. You didn't screw everything up by agreeing to this. You didn't insert your selfish and wrong desires into the situation and ruin it for everyone. It works. Hey, Dave, you say, overriding Solix digging himself out of the hole he'd dug earlier by instead being wildly enthusiastic and full of approval for everything he and Dave did. Yeah, Dave says. You really are a genius. This whole thing was an excellent idea, you tell him. Dave falters, which isn't surprising, as sincere praise tends to throw striders off if they're not expecting it. You broke him, Solix snickers, and Dave swats him with one of the little lounge plank cushions. He remembers not to throw them at Solix, which is something you always forget. I mean it. This is good. It still doesn't really feel real, you admit, gesturing around at the three of you to indicate your impossible relationship that somehow works. I get that. I can't believe that I wanted everything I did earlier, Dave says in quiet awe. I'm not going to interpret that how it sounded. I know what you meant, Solix says, with a roll of his eyes, and panic flashes over Dave's face. I mean, no, before I would have been fine with anything sexual, just not interested or into it. I mean, I can't get over how different it is with you two, Dave insists hurriedly. I said I knew what you meant, Solix laughs. You're still reeling at being very much included in that category. You too, he said. Oh, wow. Well, excuse the fuck out of me for trying to not deeply insult my partner who I just slept with, Dave huffs. Oh, no, that's too easy. I'm not going for that, Solix tells him. The obvious bait for Solix to reply with something that interprets the fuck in Dave's sentence is pretty blatant. Carcat, he just called me easy. Can you believe this? Dave asks you in fake offense. That's awful. How could you, Solix? I'll be nice to you, Dave, you joke. You're not expecting Dave to get up and walk to the other end of the lounge plank to sit cuddled up to your side, but really you should have figured that he'd go with the joke like that. It's not really a hardship that you have to endure, though, is it? Traitor. So, did anything happen in the meeting that I would care about? Solix asks you, and contentedly stretches his arms above his head and melts into the lounge plank a little. He looks as comfortable and content as can be. Honestly, you love to see it. You do love to see it. Plenty of important things happened. Very high-ranking people discussing things like what's going to happen to the captain or what our next moves are with the rest of the fleet. But nothing major was decided yet, and I'm well aware of how narrow the range of things that you care about is, so no. You tell him, somewhat petulantly. You're gonna write a memo anyway, right? He asks. Yes. Are you going to read it? You question him, already knowing the answer. Because I pity you so much, I will skim it later. Solix grins. It's a good thing that I'm already sitting down, or else I might have swooned so hard that I would have fallen and concussed myself. Then Equius would be seeing everyone in his MRI. You tell him, your voice not so much dripping with sarcasm as it is drowned in an ocean of it. Like someone tied lead weights to the angles of your statement and pushed it overboard right above the deepest trench in the sarcasm ocean. The incredible pressure and denseness of the water kills your sentence completely, leaving it to rest there at the abyssal plane of your insincerity. That's not who Equius wants to be seeing, Solix says smugly. Did Solix tell you about that? Dave asks eagerly. The sarcasm! Holy shit! I'm so fucking proud! I'm so fucking proud! That's a good one! I was blindsided because for a second, even though I can very clearly see the chat the chat name colors, I saw the message first, and so I was like, oh, surely Unda said that, but it wasn't. Oh my god. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. That's really good. Okay, sorry. Did Solix tell you about that? Dave asks eagerly. About? You ask. Equius showed up at work and asked Hal out on a date. It was very egalitarian. They took turns in flustering each other by being incredibly weird and dorky. Solix tells you. Good. Equius is a good person. I'd trust him with Hal. As long as this whole thing doesn't blow up in their faces and make things really awkward for me seeing the guy who fixes my eyes, then it's all good. Dave nods. You don't know Hal incredibly well, but you know Dave and Rose very well. That gives you a kind of cheat sheet into understanding Hal better than you should for the amount of time that you've spent with him. You don't want to say it here, but you think that everything that set Dave at ease around Equius now that he's a doctorist will probably work well with Hal. You can see it working out well. You really can. Goodness knows that family could use more happy events these days, too. So, after this very important meeting or whatever, Dave starts. There's no or whatever. It was a very important meeting, and yet somehow I'm the only bouncer that shows up reliably. You interrupt. Yeah. After that, were you just wandering around aimlessly, trying to buy things the Hive needs so you didn't come back here while Solix was... You cut Dave off with your hand over his mouth. I can see how this is going to go. You're going to throw out some horrible euphemism for what you two were doing, and then Solix is going to try and add a different one, and it's going to go back and forth until I want to rip off my own head. So we're not doing that. I actually got a message from Gamzee in the Balancer chat. He needed someone to check him. You tell them both. I was occupied, and also, I don't want to go hang out with Gamzee, Solix says. You're going to have to learn to balance with him alone at some point. What if Radia and Karkat aren't around? Dave reminds him. I didn't say that I didn't have to do it or that I wouldn't do it. I said I didn't want to. I don't need to want to. Solix counters. Come on, man.
I'm not even friends with Gamzee. I work with him just fine. Sure, we never balance one-on-one, because that wouldn't work, but I still work with the guy.
Dave points out. You really aren't sure how both Dave and Gamzee maintain that they're not friends with each other. They obviously get each other really well, and they work together with a comfortable ease that you've rarely seen before. They don't have any problem being in each other's company as a general rule, and they talk about personal things. How is that not a friendship? But whatever, they can do whatever they want. Dumbasses. Anyway, I went and helped him out, and I saw this bright spot in the ship. Gamzee says he's been seeing them a lot. He seemed pretty concerned. He thought maybe Bro was doing something to make that happen. You interrupt.
I've been seeing those too, but it didn't seem like anything much. It's way too sharp and isolated. I figured it was either people's dark and light balance being wonky from everyone knowing about the void now, or some lingering weirdness from being so close to that whole unreality area. Plus, we're heading towards an inhabited planet. That stuff makes people future-y.
Dave explains, sitting up properly. Those are all reasonable explanations, and after you upset the whole system by telling everyone everything, it's entirely possible, even likely, that things aren't going to behave the same way as before. The fact that Bro is inherently untrustworthy and suspicious isn't something that anyone is denying. It just might be unrelated, is all. It seems weird that this is happening when these doors are appearing in our dreams as well. You add.
That I will agree to, and Bro made a point that it's odd for all of us to interpret the same outside weirdness as the same thing. We don't even all feel the void itself in the same way. It's really odd for something so specific to be the same across the board.
Dave says seriously. I've still never seen this door, and I don't think AA has either. Solix points out. That is really weird. You can argue that Solix is an outlier with his light and dark alignment. If it was just him not seeing it, you'd think he's not seeing the door in his dream and getting the migraines instead. They're clearly connected to music, but so much of the void seems to be. But then Aradia isn't seeing them either, so what's the link there? Gamzee's sleep schedule is whatever he likes. Since he's only doing construction of the new ship and keeping up with his training, he can do what he wants. Aradia is on a staggered shift to you, and Dave and Solix can have odd sleep patterns at times. So you can't see that it's the time that someone is sleeping is having the effect. So what's going on?
I think we all need to sleep together,
Dave says finally.
That escalated quickly. Solix snorts. Oh, Solix, you've awoken something in me. I can't stop myself now.
Dave says dryly and pulls his palm husk out. As he types, yours pings as well, so you get it out and read along.
Hey, so I want to run a test. We know there's something going on with this door that's showing up in our dreams, but we haven't all seen it yet.
So, what are you hoping to test?
I want to see if we can all see it if we go to sleep at the same time.
Sorry, I just woke up. Someone's bark beast was whining all night for food.
Don't blame me.
I blame you.
What's the thinking here, then? That if we all go under at the same time, we end up at the same place and see the door?
I guess that would rule out there being anything about only some of us being able to see it. I'm not sure what only some of us seeing it would mean, but knowing for sure one way or the other can't hurt, right?
Pretty much. And maybe we all need to be there to make it do something. I don't know what. Do we want some shifty-ass dream door to be doing things?
I hate to say this, but I kind of agree. We shouldn't go banging on a locked door. What makes you say it's locked?
What?
You said locked. Locked implies that it's impossible to open right now, but it can be unlocked. Thanks for explaining the concept of a lock to me. I definitely needed that.
It's weird that you'd say it was locked, though. Who locked it? How do you know something like that, huh?
Oh my god, I've never even seen this stupid door. You're the ones who called it a door and said it doesn't open. Since you can't get in and you all know how doors work, it makes more sense to say it's locked and that you're all blisteringly stupid and can't open it. And I was agreeing with you anyway, but fuck me, I guess. Okay, let's maybe reel this back in a little. Solix doesn't know anything that we don't about this door. He knows less, actually, since he's never even seen it. Thank you.
I don't know about that, though. Don't give me that look, man. You're sitting right next to me. I can see you. What I mean is that the things you assume and interpret about void shit can often be more accurate than you think. So, if you hear about this door and the thought that comes into your head is locked instead of closed, that might mean something. Okay, so asking people who aren't duality obsessed here, is the door locked from this side or the other side? I take my thank you back. I was trying to ask a serious question and avoid the inevitable both that you're contractually obligated to say, but okay. Okay, so if we're thinking that Duelist was seeing something that's actually got truth in it, and not just saying shit about doors in general, and it meant something or whatever, then it makes more sense for it to be locked from the other side. You don't freak out about a door being locked on your side, because you could just unlock it and open it again.
Unless you don't have the key, and also most doors lock from both sides. Unless it's a jail cell or an ablution block where you just want to lock people out or in. Again, I'm explaining how doors work.
Okay, not that I'm not loving this unexpected aside into doors, locks, and the functions thereof. Really, this shit is just edge-of-your-seat thrilling. Can we all just agree to go to sleep at the same time soon so we can try to meet up and all go look at this door, which may or may not be locked on our side or another by us or something else?
I don't have work today and I slept like crap. I could totally go for a long nap in what'd be afternoon for me, but nighttime for at least like a duelist and hematocrit, right? What about you, Pagliacci?
Yeah, I can do that. 23 CST?
Sure, whatever. I can do that.
Same, and now we have a plan.
Okay, see you all then.
Talk to Gamzee, you have to work with him, Solix says in a quiet but very mocking voice. No one's accusing you of anything, man, Dave points out.
It sounded like it, Solix says tersely. I'm actually really looking forward to us all seeing it together. It's like video game logic, right? Or those puzzle room things? You say, in an attempt to placate Solix. From the way he glares at you, it seems like he took offense to you trying to spare his feelings.
My family's awful at those. June holds clues back because it's funny. Roxy figures that shit out super early and no one listens to her. I get sidetracked doing whatever Dirk and Hal start ordering me to, and Rose breaks the puzzles. I think we're actually banned from all the puzzle places, or at least Rose is, Dave says thoughtfully.
She what?
Solix asks, his surprise overruling his sulk. Yeah, she takes the same view to them as I think you do with other people's security. Like, if they didn't want it broken, they shouldn't have made it so breakable. Dave shrugs.
I'm with Rose on this. She has a point.
Solix nods sagely. Jane and Dad, on the other hand, play together and always win, so...
Dave shrugs. You know what? You're off of the topic of that train wreck of a conversation in the balancer chat, so you'll take it. If you're not banned, we could do one sometime, you say thoughtfully.
I don't really like him that much, and I have a habit of cheating without meaning to. My eyes see UV reactive stuff really easily, and I don't always realize that what I'm seeing isn't meant to be visible, so I end up getting frustrated by clues that I can see that don't make sense for the point that I'm at. And I can't think that you'd be good with the puzzles where you're meant to unlock something to get a tool that'll pull something free of a small space. You just use your psionics and then unlock the tool later and have no idea why you have it, Dave says to Solix. There's gotta be some designed for psionics, right? He wonders. You leave the two of them to talk about that as your mind wanders back to the door.
If Dave's point is true, if the way you instinctively think about the door is accurate, then that's interesting. You all worked out it was a door, even though it didn't look exactly like a door. If you accept that's right, then Solix's comment about it being locked is interesting, as was his comment about not having a key. Maybe he was just arguing with Gamzee, but even so. Are you on the outside with something dangerous locked away, or are you on the inside and something out there has locked you in so you can't escape? More importantly, what's on the other side? You try to enjoy the rest of your evening as best as you can, but the idea of the door is hanging over your head, and you don't think that you're the only one. You, Dave, and Solix head to bed that night in good time to get to sleep for your planned meet-up time. And of course, you spend a good amount of time in bed staring at the ceiling as you stress about not being able to get to sleep, as your think sponge helpfully reminds you how long you have left until the time when you're meant to be asleep and waiting for everyone else. When you do drift off, you're surprised to find yourself somewhere new. This isn't your ice cream parlor or anywhere else that you've already seen. The floor is tiled with large, pale marble effect tiles, buffed to a mirror shine. The walls around you are high and arched, with polished stone and old dark wood railings. You step through automatic glass doors and find that the majestic building continues, and now you see what it is. You've done virtual reality tours of museums at school and occasionally since then. Before Earth was destroyed, plenty of buildings were 3D mapped so they could be preserved forever. Museums across the Earth categorized and scanned everything that couldn't be taken with them, and updates to exhibits in various virtual museums are one of the updates that get pushed between ships around the fleet when you get close to each other. Not to mention the historians on your own ship running their own exhibits in the virtual spaces. What's nice is that trolls got really into it as well, showing the few preserved artifacts of your species' past in exhibits. These museums show everything from culture to history to archaeology. As you look around, you realize that this is geology and paleontology. A huge geode of glittering purple stone towers up against a museum pillar, and next to it a skeletal fish from the ancient past swims, flicking from bones to muscles to a living replica. What dominates the room is a giant pair of jaws hanging from the ceiling. You watch in awe as the body behind it fills out to a skeleton, organs and muscles, then skin. A giant oceanic terror forms above you, its skin white and gray-blue. Impossibly big, it swims in place, and you stare as its mouth opens wide and displays terrifying teeth in row after row. Its jaws snap shut, and the creature fades from view, leaving only its jaws hanging there. A banner pops up in the air, and you groan in realization as you read it. You know whose dream space this is. Megalodon. Ototus megalodon. Late Oligocene, 28 million years ago, to Pliocene, 3.6 million years ago. Estimated length, 14.2 to 20.3 meters. Thought to be the largest macropredatory shark to have ever lived on Earth. Largest teeth of any known shark species at over 180 millimeters diagonal, with an estimated bite force of 182,000 newtons, compared to the max of 18,000 newtons for a great white shark, and 21,000 for an Alternian darkjaw lucis. Across the room, another skeleton assembles itself. A jaw, skull, and long, lashing spine start to form the body of a terrifying underwater lucis. As fascinating as this is, you have people to find. You carve a path through the museum, trying to focus on where you're going, but it's hard to not get distracted by each of the little exhibits. Actually, maybe you should take Dave on a date to a museum. He might like that. You'll have to ask. You can virtually go around together, so it's not exactly the same as this, but maybe it could be fun. Aradia's laugh echoes down a nearby hallway, bouncing brightly off of the smooth stone and leading you in the right direction. You're kind of jealous that she's got this whole museum space in her dreams, and you just... Oh, great. The hallway leads into a cafe space, something that made sense back when museums like this were huge physical spaces that tourists went to. In this little cafe, you can see Gamzee, Dave, and Aradia sitting together right by an ice cream cart. The cart has the same branding and color scheme as the parlor in your dreams, and the same server, too. Dave has his triple cone of ice cream like he did before, and Aradia has a cardboard cup for hers.
It's real nice, and they go so well together. You two do, I mean,
Dave says, taking his finger out of his mouth. Well, I liked it. Aradia laughs, rattling her empty cup about to demonstrate. You feel your eyebrows raise as Aradia leans over and licks the bright yellow scoop of ice cream representing Solix. She sighs and leans back with a smile on her face. Still a sweetie, she says with a grin.
Hey, Karkat. Gamzee greets you. He'd seen you before all of this. You know he had. I guess he just didn't want to interrupt whatever that was.
Hi. I don't think I should even ask, you say as you walk up to them. I like your ice cream dream. It's nice that it fits in so well with mine, Aradia says, and tosses her now empty cup into the trash.
The ice cream seller glares at you, his hands flat on the metal plate that keeps the ice cream inside covered and cold.
I suppose that you want something now, like you deserve it or whatever. The seller sneers at you.
Gamzee's expression turns sharp and dangerous, the kind of look you're used to him getting when you really need to start talking about a violence. You're not entirely prepared for the shift in Dave, however. He smiles at the seller, but it's a smile you're more familiar with on Rose's face. It's a dangerous kind of smile.
I have a really strong memory of us talking about this before, Dave states, but it's a warning.
What'd you say before?
Gamzee asks curiously and menacingly, like he's circling the cellar and waiting to attack, despite not actually moving at all.
We had a talk about shit-talking Karkat and him deserving nice things, and then I shoved him in the walk-in freezer to cool off.
Dave answers him. It's fine, really, you sigh. I'm going to point out that this is part of Karkat's dream, his thoughts as well, probably, Aradia adds. This doesn't seem to comfort either Dave or Gamzee, probably because they've worked out that you're only getting this kind of hostility about what you deserve because part of you believes it. The ice cream seller starts, pointing at you as he speaks.
Last time I shoved you in the walk-in freezer, but now you've just got a cart. Want to see if I can still do it again anyway?
Dave asks, getting to his feet. The seller glares at you, but stays silent, probably because Dave very clearly means it. You don't think Dave would shove an actual person into a cart, especially when there's no way they'd fit. But the part of your think sponge that tears chunks out of the rest of your psyche, yeah, he probably would.
Solix would, too.
Solix isn't here yet, you say, trying to change the topic somewhat. People get here when they fall asleep. The three of us have been here ages. Sailors are pretty practiced at falling asleep fast on a mission. When you don't have much time, you get good at switching off really fast so you can get all the sleep you can. If he's asleep now, he's probably just not in REM sleep yet, Aradia explains.
How about we go check the door out? It's got 4 lights on now,
Gamzee suggests, unfolding from his seat and standing up at his towering height. That tracks with Solix having had another dream since the last time we saw the door. You nod. Okay, let's go. This place isn't as big as it seems, so if Solix shows up, he won't be that far from us, no matter where we go, Aradia explains. You motion for her to lead the way, but it turns out to be Gamzee who turns around and starts walking. Aradia joins him at his side, and you follow after. When you glance back, you see Dave give the ice cream seller one last menacing look before he turns and follows the rest of you. He seems instantly happier at your side, and is clearly enjoying his triple scoop ice cream. He offers it to you with a vague noise, his mouth full of ice cream at the time, but you decline. You didn't come here to eat ice cream. You came here to solve a mystery.
This is so cool. Kanaya would love this part,
Dave tells you as you walk it along into a wider room. This one seems to be more anthropological than it is archaeological. There's a long case of outfits suspended in the air on very thin strings, showing present-day sailors in ship uniforms for trolls and humans. The further along you go, the further back in time you are. It does get interesting when it gets back to the early point in time when your two species first met, the outfits of both groups being very heavily military style. And then, well, that's not even something you should put a door like that into, you say, as you see the outline of the door on the glass, right where the beginning of the display should be. It should be showing you the kind of outfits that NASA had people in when humans were speed-running space travel right after they'd found out about the void. Instead, there's a big round door there with... That had 4 lights earlier, Aradia says, pointing at it. Sure enough, the door has its 10 lights around it, but now only 5 of them are off. The 5th one around is now lit. It really does feel like a door, but what happened to make the light come on? What changed? Carcat showing up? Aradia asks, running her hands over the surface of the door and tapping at the newly lit light.
Maybe Solix is asleep after all, he's just not here,
Gamzee suggests.
I guess. If he keeps getting these migraines from it, then maybe he's not balanced enough in his light-dark thing to be here with us, Dave says, and then chomps down on his ice cream, getting through the remaining ice cream and the cone in no time. Just watching that makes your thing sponge hurt. Fuck brain freeze, I'm worried about my teeth. I could never bite through ice cream. I'm sorry, I can't. Shit hurts.
That doesn't tell us what changed, just why Solix might not be here. And it can't need us to all be asleep, or this would be the first time it changed, Aradia points out.
Is the room different? I'm gonna look, Dave says and walks off.
Last time there was another door, just a regular one, not that. And there were words, song lyrics. It looked like it might have been Solix's dream. You tell them. You've already told them this before in the balancer chat, but it seems like the right time to point it out again.
I don't like that, Gamzee mumbles.
You don't like it either. You don't like that whatever this is happens to be progressing, and you don't like that it's hurting Solix. Aradia gives the door a shove just to see what happens, but it doesn't move or give any indication that it would with more force. You look around you. Does the door appearing here mean anything? It's shown up in several dreams, and the location doesn't seem significant, but it appearing right at the point in time that the void was discovered in this display seems ominously relevant.
Pretty sure this wasn't here before,
Dave calls out. The 3 of you go around the display and track Dave down to the far wall of the room. He's standing by a door that looks pretty out of place for this museum. Isn't that... You start.
One of the doors in our hive? Yeah, that wasn't here before.
Dave nods. Well, maybe Solix is lost and he's on the other side of there. We can go in and bring him out to look at the door, Aradia suggests. Dave reaches out and touches the button by the door. It slides open immediately, and beyond it is complete blackness. This is like before, you whisper. Come on, Dave says and steps through. Aradia catches the back of Dave's t-shirt and takes your hand. You reach back and catch Gamzee's. That way, none of you get separated in the dark.
There's stairs,
Dave calls ahead. Carefully, you descend one set and then another, all the way until you're down 5 levels from where you started. The number's significance is not lost on you. As you join the 5th level, you see that the words are already glowing on the wall in alternating red and blue. They're in English once again, and they're gibberish, even if you know all of the words. I know what happens here. Hold up, Gamzee says, and reaches out to touch one of the letters. He can see better now under the glow of the words. As Gamzee touches the glowing words, they suddenly start to play. The song begins with a steady kind of bass beat and then descends into this man singing this nonsense song that references a few characters that you've heard of, but you don't know what to say about it.
Old Godzilla playground when suddenly Batman burst from the shade and hit Godzilla with a bat grenade. Godzilla got pissed and began to attack, but didn't expect to be blocked by Shaq, who proceeded to open up a can of Shaq Fu when Eric Carter came out of the blue and he started beating up Shaquille O'Neal. Then they both got flattened by the Batmobile, but before we could make it back to the Batcave, Abraham Lincoln popped out of his grave and took an AK-47 out from under his hat, blew Batman away with a rat-a-tat-tat, but he ran out of bullets and he ran away because Optimus Prime came to save the day.
Wait, do you smell that? Dave asks as the song keeps going. Dave gasps and then vanishes before your very eyes. Dave! You yelp in fear. He woke up, that's all. I don't smell anything, though. I don't know what he was talking about, Aradia tells you. The shrill alarm pierces through your consciousness and has you flailing awake in your sheets. It's a fire alarm! You scramble out of bed in a hurry and rush into the main room. Solix's door is open, and there's a thick, acrid smell in the air, along with a haze of smoke. Dave! Solix! You shout. Lounge plank! Dave shouts back at you from within Solix's room. The door is open, and you can just see him leaning over the bed in there. Hurrying to the lounge plank, you find Solix, still in Dave's stolen pajamas, flat on his back, seemingly sound asleep despite the blaring alarm above you. Solix! You shout, shaking him, but he's not stirring at all. Is the hive on fire? Do we need to go? You shout to Dave over the noise of the alarm. It's fine, Dave shouts back. You're inclined to believe him, so now you're most concerned with Solix. If he's been inhaling smoke or something, then he could be hurt. You peel back his eyelids and jerk back in fear when you see that his eyes are solid black. Endless, impossible black. You shriek and jump back, making Dave rush out to see what's wrong. His eyes! You shout. Dave rushes to Solix's side and slides his eyes open, but they're completely normal red and blue now. They were completely black, I swear, you tell him. That's void stuff. Solix is definitely affected by this, Dave says unhappily. You look back at Solix's open door and then at Dave again. What happened? What set the fire alarm off? Did something explode again? You ask. You tell me, Dave says unhelpfully. You don't know what that's supposed to mean, but you figure that the answers will be in Solix's respite block, if they're anywhere. You walk there, careful of any debris that might be on the ground, but all that's there are blankets and Solix's water bottle with the top missing. The blankets have been ripped off of Solix's bed, and as you touch them, you feel that they're soaking wet. You've got a pretty good guess as to why. There's water dripping down the wall, and the blanket that's abandoned on the bed is partly melted, despite how it's been purposefully soaked. The wall is the most jarring part. The metal of Solix's wall is melted, long strokes carved into the wall, leaving now solid drips of metal at the edges and down the wall. The burnt sections are letters that spell out words in English. What happened to my family? There's the start of a question mark, but it's unfinished. You can only guess that Dave smelt the burning and came running. He must have dragged Solix out of here and then soaked his bedding with water to try to cool the wall down and put out any fires. You pull the half-melted blanket on the bed back and see that large parts of Solix's mattress have burnt away pretty badly. You don't get to investigate further as the fire department bursts in and tosses you out. It's only when Solix wakes up in agony and the fire team assesses that there's no fire there anymore that they let you get Solix's medication. You don't know what's going on here, but it's obviously getting worse. We need to take him to Equius. He said we should, and the smoke can't be any good for him either, you tell Dave when the fire department have left.
I'll message Nepeta to get him there. She's gonna want to know about this. I'll hit up Gamzee and Aradia too, so they know what's going on. Wait, maybe you should, and I'll grab... Dave trails off as you easily scoop Solix up in your arms and hold him safely. Solix whimpers at the movement, but the look on Dave's face is entirely different. Not the moment to swoon about you doing that. Gotta focus, Dave mutters, probably meaning for that to be an inside thought and not an outside one. The three of you leave your hive, not that Solix gets a lot of choice, and you make your way to the hospital.
It's not enough of an emergency to use the emergency line, really, but Dave points out that it'll be faster, Equius might get better data, and the noise of regular commuters will hurt Solix. It's enough to persuade you. Besides, you don't need everyone on this damn ship seeing you in your PJs. Equius herds you into a room right away, though he very clearly has only just got up himself. You leave Dave by the door as he gives a report of the events until now to Nepeta. They're both in full sailor mode, and it's of no help to you right now. Feeling any better? You whisper to Solix as you bring him to the table that Equius has set up to scan his think sponge. Little bit, Solix croaks. You're doing great, you whisper and kiss his forehead quickly. You put Solix down on the table, and after a slight adjustment from Equius, he starts the scan. You go around to watch it, but it's all meaningless to you. Equius's expression is grim, and that doesn't fill you with hope. It's the same as last time, the usual migraine effect, but there's lingering traces, I suppose, of whatever it is that balancing things does. Equius asks. Can you tell if it's something he was doing or something that he's reacted to? Nepeta asks. I don't have anywhere near the kind of experience I'd need to know that, or even if this equipment could possibly... Equius pauses for a moment. Actually, the smell of burning and melting synthetic materials is likely making this worse. Dave, you've been here plenty of times. Could you get him something clean in his size? You look around and see that now that Dave isn't catching Nepeta up, he looks sick. He's pale, even for him, and he's very blatantly on edge. Of course he is. This is medical testing on a balancer in pain. Can I move him, if you're done? You interrupt, looking at Equius. Equius nods, and you pick Solix up carefully again, taking him fully away from all of the medical apparatus. As soon as you have done, and Solix is safely in your arms, Dave runs out of the door. Is there anything else you can tell? Nepeta asks quietly, once Dave is gone. This is entirely new for me. There's no research on this that is in any way trustworthy. The best I can do is to give him pain medication and record the things I observe. Equius answers her. There's no accusation that Nepeta is asking him to do anything awful, and you don't think that Nepeta was even asking that, but you can guess how Dave might have heard it. Better that she asked now. I wish we could do something more. I have no idea why this is happening. Nepeta sighs. No one knows why this is happening. That's why it's so terrifying. End of chapter. It is not going to surprise you at all, I'm certain, that instead of doing my ridiculous end of stream rambling, I'm going to go on a brief break, and I'll be back for the Setlist Chapter. Brief break. Whoa! What? There's a Setlist Chapter tonight? Dude, I had no fucking idea! Dude, what? What the fuck? Why didn't you tell me? No. Dude, no way! I'm gonna give my voice a break from being Carcat. And I'll be back in a few. And then we're gonna set list. We're gonna list sets. I'll be back in a moment. Hello! I'm back. I drank fluids for my throat. The fluids were soda, so you're not, it's not technically, but they were flat sodas, so it felt fine.
The only thing complaining is my teeth. Probably. I don't know. Yeah, probably.
I did unmute, right? Okay. Just making sure. Well, gang. Well, gang. Folks. Fellas. Squad. Etc. That's one of the names. It is indeed setlist time. And the setlist is themed after time. Do you get it? Do you get it? Funny. I'm just waiting for someone to say something so that I know it's okay to start. Funny. Okay, there you are. Okay. Hi. Hi, guys. All right. Now that I am confirmed not dead, I have to type in this long, dumb title and not get confused because I can't see what I'm typing. I think I got it. I think I'm so typing. Yeah, there we go. See? I'm so typing, you guys. Setlist Chapter 5. 2 years. It's been 2 years. Your ghost alien buddy sends you all over the goddamn place for a stupid key, drops the knowledge that the world is going to end in your lap, and then ghosts you for 2 years. You guess, given that he is some kind of pre-ghost, that's fitting, but it's not cool. It's a hell of a time between then and now. That whole plague thing is still there. Everyone's still freaked out about that, and rightly so, but
You guess the shine kind of comes off of one apocalyptic event when there's others competing. At least you don't have to feel bad about global warming anymore. The ice caps are going to blip into nothingness along with the rest of your planet. You can count that as a silver lining, you guess? The world changed really goddamn fast when the news about the planets going missing and what it meant for Earth broke. The panic, the religious weirdness, and the conspiracy theorists were all things that anyone could have predicted. Less predictable, but kind of sadder in a way, was how pretty much every country immediately took action together. That sounds nice in theory, right? You could totally spin it like that. World leaders coming together to save humanity. That sounds way better than rich old fuckers finally facing a problem that they personally will get screwed by and can't bribe away. The total global flight operation was set up within months. Unfortunately, re-acronymed immediately on the internet as Operation GTFO, since that's basically what they're trying to do. GTFO, as everyone now calls it, aims to get literally every person off of the planet and into space. Every country is represented, and all research must be shared back to the operation as a whole. Different countries are set up to work on different things, and the various governments of each of the countries carry out their missions accordingly. Participation is technically optional, but any country trying to hoard their own research, funds, or anything else would almost certainly find themselves in need of a new head of state, and find their, until very recently present head of state, in need of a new head. Your life personally has changed. Mexico made the decision to change how its schools work. Your kids are there longer, and there's a way bigger emphasis on training them in professions useful for spaceflight. Sam's been bringing home engineering homework that makes your brain hurt just to look at, and Sophia's is heading that way too, despite her being so young. The real question that no one wants to ask is not if you'll get space travel, because with everyone focused on it this much, you definitely will, but if everyone will get to go. There's 8 billion people on the planet right now. That's a lot of people to evacuate. If you can't take everyone, then, well, how do you decide who you do take? Everyone seems to be avoiding the question, because there's no way that you can make that call without it being horrific. You know that someone in your family makes it in order for you to have a grandson and a great-grandson, but that doesn't tell you nearly enough. The point is that you're grateful to have your mom deliver you a location in your dreams. Now that your wife knows that Solix is telling you things about the future, she has no objections to you going. There's not exactly a lot of tourism these days. Jet fuel isn't the kind of thing people are willing to waste anymore. If you have enough money to charter a private flight, however, then you can go. Thanks to Solix, you do have that kind of money. You fly to South Africa. The country, not the continent. Actually, yeah, okay, it's both, but still. Specifically, you get your ass all the way down to the very itty-bittiest tip of the whole continent, the most southern part of all of Africa, where the Atlantic and Indian Oceans collide. It's January, so it's really nice here. It's the southern hemisphere, after all, so the seasons are the other way around. You watch the sea and try to figure out how to get your alien to appear. Eventually, you have no choice but to sit down on the ground and start flicking through your Spotify library, singing a bit of everything until you stumble on whatever it is that you're supposed to sing. You're almost mad that it's a song as dumb as The Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny that does it. You get to the first chorus before the red and blue lightning hits. Unfortunately for Solix, they strike just south of where you are. Given that you're on the most south bit of land there is, that means he gets dropped right in the sea. After a stream of alien cursing, Solix scrambles up onto land and looks at you wide-eyed. "It's been a while, man," you say as he gets closer. "For you?" Solix asks as he comes to a stop by you. "Yeah, man. 2 years. What about you?" You question him curiously. He doesn't look any older, but you don't either, even if you feel it. "Wow, not that long for me. Not even close," Solix says. "So, tell me about my family." you say. You mean Dave? My Dave? Solix says with a confused frown. What? No. No offense to my great-grandson, but I care about my family, my kids, you tell him. Solix doesn't look like he understands, and you try to remember that English isn't his first language. Not that it's yours either, but you should try this again. Last time you said that you were going to find out what happens to my family, because the world's ending and we need to leave. You said you didn't know, and you said you'd find out. You explain. Solix is an alien that you don't actually know all that well. His features aren't human, his eyes are blank, he's very alien. But the look on his face now is the one you've seen on your kids' faces many times before. The, oh shit, I forgot about my homework face. You didn't find out, did you? You breathe, your voice barely more than a whisper. I don't remember this when I wake up. I'm trying. I'm sorry, Solix says, looking horrified. Just remember, it's... Ugh! You cover your face with your hands and turn and walk away and back a few times, just to try to give this anger and desperation some outlet. I'm sorry, Solix says again. You suck in a breath and hold it. Just keep calm. You breathe out and look at him. How many people get off of the planet? You question him. Pretty much everyone, I think. Some people chose to stay, but in school they said you got basically everyone. Solix tells you readily, presumably happy to be able to tell you something. So, we probably are going to get off of Earth, okay. Okay, what thing is it here that you need? I'm not touching it, because whenever I do that, you vanish on me, but I want to know what it is. You ask. Solix looks about and then walks over to the monument that's set up at this landmark. He stops and points at the ground. Looking at it, you see that there's a painted stone, about fist-sized, that someone's decorated and left there. It reads, Our last trip to Africa, January 1st, 2023. And underneath that is a painted earth surrounded by space and stars. Is there something that I can do that'd make it more likely that my family gets on a spaceship? Was there some kind of system for working out who gets out first? You ask him, looking up from the stone to him. I don't think so. I'm on a troll ship. We don't have a lot of humans. We learn human history, but it's what humans tell us. If they did something like that... Solix winces. They might not admit to it. Great. Is there nothing you can do to make sure you remember to find out about my family for next time? You ask desperately. I don't know. I'm asleep. It's not like I can... Solix pauses. What? You ask slowly. I'm asleep right now. I don't move my body when I'm walking around here, he says. Yeah, there's things in your brain that stop you acting out your dreams, unless you're a sleepwalker. I don't know how it works for your species. You agree. No, it's the same. But I'm, Solix frowns. I can move stuff with my mind and things. I don't know the word in English. Maybe I can move me and then leave myself a message. Wait. If you're going to do that, you need to make it a message that makes sense. I've left myself notes when I'm half asleep, and they're nonsense. You tell him quickly. What happened to my family? Something like that? If I write it in English, I'll know it won't be about my Dave's family. He doesn't speak English. Solix suggests. Oh, yeah, that's smart. So you're going to, what, find a pen? You ask. Solix makes an indecisive noise and holds his hand out in front of him, palms facing you. He glows red and blue all over and even floats off of the floor with his knees folded under him like he's kneeling on something. Solix says something in Troll, but you don't understand it. But then, the words, "What happened to my family?" start to appear in the air.
He's just getting to the question mark when he flickers out of view. Something of him is clearly still there, but it takes about a minute before he comes back together again, except now he's sprawled on the ground. "What happened?" you ask in alarm. "I don't know. It felt like I nearly woke up," he groans. "Are you okay?" You check and crouch down next to him. You feel bad for tearing into him. He's obviously trying to help, even if he's not actually managing to right now. "I think..." He winces. You smell something. Smell is a useful sense with spirits and ghosts. Not because they stink or anything, but it's more that there can be clues in that. You've spoken to ghosts who smell like this, usually ones who've died in fires. Worse still, if you listen carefully, you can hear a very faint but shrill noise, an alarm. "Do you smell burning?" you ask him slowly. Ow! Solok slaps his hand over his eyes. "You need to wake up. I'm going to get this rock. Stay there, and remember to find out about my family," you tell him, and hurry over to the monument. As soon as you snag the rock, Solix vanishes. Well, shit, you hope he's okay. You hope you're going to be okay. And that's the end. Yay! Question mark. The Sniler! It's fine. It's totally normal to leave yourself a message with electrical fire. It's fine. Everyone does this. It's totally normal and completely not super duper overkill. I mean, I do recognize that I do recognize that something like paper wouldn't necessarily be an option if in a sort of situation where, you know, resources and shit is kind of important and everything's digital, or almost everything, so they may not even have some at their disposal, but just burn yourself a message into the wall. It's fine. Average Untitled Hive receives emergency services relating to fire 3 times per month. Actually, statistical outlier. Why do they keep having things blowing up? The fire department is gonna... It was an idea, not a good one. Huh? What do you mean a fourth guy? Who's the guy? Oh. Yeah, anyway, what I was trying to say was, I get that maybe a pen and a sticky note may not have been at his immediate disposal, but jumping straight from that to, why don't I just burn it into my wall, was kind of a leap. Have a good night. I wish you luck with sleeping, and do try to not dream about burning a message to yourself in the wall. The blood sacrifice worked. And I suppose you can't make any promises because you won't remember it when you wake up. But, you know. Try not to burn things into your wall. Anyway. I am going to go ahead and start getting the VOD uploaded. I wish you all a wonderful night. A wonderful arson-free night. And I will catch you guys back here tomorrow. At 3 for chapter 49. Maybe when I'm saying the number, I should enunciate a little bit more clearly so you know what number I'm trying to say. Yes, chapter 49 tomorrow at 3 p.m. my time, which is Pacific Standard Time. And that actually is standard. Did you know that daylight time takes up more of the year than standard time? It's not half and half. Which I think is infuriating, because then it's not very standard at all, is it? Sorry. Anyway, point being, now it is standard time, though. So, I can say things like Pacific Standard Time at 3 p.m. And people will know what the fuck I mean. Or if they don't, then they can find out using one of those time zone converter things. Anyway, have a good y'all, and I'll catch y'all next time.